First up, a huge thank you to Panenka Bar and Grill for supporting the channel. You can find us there before every home game and post game, either celebrating or drowning our sorrows. It's a great premium bar and it's situated less than half a mile from beautiful downtown Bramall Lane.
Also, a huge thank you to Parrot Peel. They are a virtual band who create innovative musical experiences just for you. But you already knew that, didn't you? We've been talking about them for long enough. But please do go to parrotpeel.com and check them out because they are awesome.
Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale.
Well, hello, fancy seeing you. Here it is, the Sheff United way. It is the playoff final. Sheffield United versus Sunderland, Saturday, 24th of May. It feels like an age away because we're so nervous. Some are excited. It's at Wembley Stadium. It's a Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. I don't think they'll catch on. Can United finally win an even score on the big stage? Well, Nick is here with me. Welcome, Nick. How are you feeling?
Oh, very exciting. This is the first playoff final preview we've ever done on this channel, which is also exciting.
Is that actually true?
Yeah, playoff final.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Final. Yeah. I was thinking Forest, of course, semi-final. Absolutely. So I don't know about the general feeling on this one, but I am so nervous. And I'm sure others will be able to relate to this. I keep having dreams about it, even just during the day. I keep imagining what we might feel. Either usually I'm imagining sad, but there's the occasional time I allow myself that moment of pure elation to wash over me. What do you think the general consensus is, and who do you think of the two fan bases is feeling more confident?
Well, from reading the comments on videos, it very much feels like Sheffield United fans are more confident than we've probably ever been. And I think that's because we've got barely any injuries. We're going into the final having won the playoff semi-final 6-0 overall. Sunderland squeaked past Coventry in the end. It was almost penalties. I was gearing myself up for penalties. I was very excited because I always get excited for penalties when they're not us, obviously. But Sunderland feel hard done by reading the comments. Sunderland feel like everybody's disrespecting them and they feel like they're going to do us. So you're obviously going to be confident in your own team. Of course you are. But I think there's an air of this has happened many times before, certainly in the Sheffield United fan base. I'm sure it is in the Sunderland fan base as well, because they've only won one and lost quite a few. So I think both sets of fans are going to be not necessarily negative, but more erring on the side of caution because, you know, we've been here, we've done it. One of us are going to take another playoff win or first playoff win. And that's quite exciting.
You said about the injuries. Sariki, Norrington Davis, our captain, Oliver Arblaster, one of the most crucial players of the entire season, Harry Suter, who would still be here if he hadn't been injured. I do wonder if another team going into a playoff final could cope with losing such crucial players, especially our captain.
Yeah, I get that. I completely get that. Harry Suter, for me, I thought Ollie Arblaster was going to be the biggest miss for the season. But Sidney Peck has stepped up massively. Don't get me wrong. I think that we would have been better off with Arblaster and Peck. But, you know, it happened earlier in the season. I think Suter was the biggest miss for me because I think if Harry Suter's still in the side, we are a lot more confident going into this game. However, you can't really say much about Jack Robinson and El Ahmedodzic in a negative light because they've stepped up when it counts. And, you know, 2 clean sheets in the semi-final, you're always going to win that game. If you can't score 1 goal, home or away, you've got problems. And Ellen and Jack Robinson have certainly, you know, earned their place. So, yeah, obviously this Harry Suter, I would have liked to have seen him in there. Sariki is another option. I still think that Hamza Chowdhury would have, well, he's nailed down that right back spot for me. And mostly because Chris Wilder likes his defensive players. He likes the players that are going to, you know, are really going to put themselves about. And I feel like Sariki, even though he's unreal going forward. There's still that slight question mark about his defensive capabilities, even though he's shown some really good moments, like he did at Bramall Lane against Wednesday with that last-ditch sliding tackle. Go on, Hal.
And that is why Chris Wilder, of course, brought in Harry Clark, injured.
Yeah.
Alfie Gilchrist, being injured. Jamie Shackleton, being injured. I mean, we have struggled this season. I really have to hammer home the injury point. I think Sheff United to have achieved what we have. If I told you before the start of the season we're going to have wholesale changes and 7 players are going to be out injured at key times, and especially when we come right to the end, I think you'd have said to me, there's no chance of us getting promotion mid-table. You'd probably, a lot of fans would have said that at the start of the season. I'm not sure how many were confident that we would finish third. You and I thought we would.
I'll be perfectly honest. I think the predictions that we did were based more on heart than head, because at that point I think we'd only signed Jamie Shackleton and Sam McCallum. I'm going to call him Callum McCallum. I'm like, that's not right. Sam
What
McCallum.
a name.
Yeah. Yeah, bit of Callum O'Hare, bit of Sam McCallum together. No, I genuinely think that I thought we'd be around the 6th mark at that stage. And then you bring in Kiefer Moore, and then you bring in Callum O'Hare, and then you bring in, that sort of ilk of player. And then you're thinking, you know what? We might do 5th, we might do 4th, might do 3rd. And then obviously we all thought that there was a big chance we could be going up top 2. But like you say, the amount of injuries that we've had up to this point, I actually don't think, other than Harry Suter, which, he's already gone back, so there's no point counting him. I think the other players, Ollie Arblaster, we've known for a long time that's injured, and Sidney Peck certainly nailed down that spot. I don't think they would necessarily make us that much better in this final.
I think there's a time when Reece Norrington-Davis was one of the first names on the team sheet. How quick we forget, because he's been poor for a while, but there was a time when he was really in tremendous form before he got injured, and of course would have been going to play for Wales at a major tournament. Luke asking, what time do you reckon to set off from Sheffield? So I'm setting off on Friday because I'm travelling from a little bit further. But Nick, what time are you setting off?
We're on the coach from Penny Black, next to the train station, at 7:30.
7:30? You're leaving that late?
Yeah, it was originally 8 o'clock for the 5:30 kickoff, and then they were like, we'll go at 7:30. So I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'd rather be there a bit earlier. But my mate who I'm going with is coming from Gainsborough, so he's got to get a train from Gainsborough or Retford, whichever one, and get to Sheffield for 7:30. So that's going to be a test in itself. But yeah, I'm going to get a lift. I'm going to get a lift. It takes 15 minutes into town. I think I've got the easier route.
Sounds like a nightmare. Who's taking a penalty then? If we get a penalty in the game or it goes to pens, who'll be the first one to take a pen for you?
Oh, it's Harrison Burrows, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
Harrison Burrows.
Saying that, I'm going to say how many times, but remember when it was the playoff final against Huddersfield, and we brought on Andy Taylor to take a penalty because he was a penalty specialist, and then went and missed it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. On that day, nerves can get hold of anyone, and actually, the players in that penalty shootout that scored were the ones I didn't expect to score, like Neil Collins, who actually scored a few more, like Michael O'Halloran. Like these random, not obviously Neil Collins isn't a random player, but there were more random players like that who scored goals, and the ones that you expect to score, Matty Loughton, for instance, I believe he missed, and I think, was it Williamson missed as well? Players that you expected to score missed, and that's just the pressure of, getting promoted and being at Wembley, I suppose.
Always a baking hot day when we play at Wembley. Forecast is rain. Let's hope that's wrong. Blades in red and white. Sunderland, of course, will be in...
I've got no.
They played in blue at the Lane. They've got a lovely white away kit. I really like Sunderland's kits this season. They're like a throwback to their sort of classic shirts. I think they've done a really nice job. All 3 of their kits are really, really nice. But white or blue, I guess.
I didn't know that answer at all. I didn't realise that we were in red and white. So thank you for being on the ball on Twitter.
Well, we finished higher up, so that's how it works, isn't it? So we'll be in the home.
I thought they were a toss of a coin.
Oh, maybe I've just made that up. Right, let's just do a quick Bristol City recap, Nick, if you just want to go over the second leg before we move on to team news. And I do want, while Nick's doing this, your team in the comments.
God, it feels like such a long time ago, doesn't it, that we played Bristol City? Oh, what an incredible night that was! It wasn't just the football on the pitch. Certainly started a little bit nervy because Bristol City came at us a little bit. I expected them to come at us with more gusto. In all honesty, I thought they were going to really kind of pump the balls long, and I know that's not necessarily their game, but I thought they were going to play Sinclair Armstrong up front and just really back into us and pump balls into the box and really get under our skin. But they didn't. They played a really good style of football. They couldn't find that killer pass or that that ball through or whatever. And obviously, late on in the first half, Kiefer Moore heads the ball in the back of the goal, and that's really game over. In all honesty, they kind of after that it was sort of done, weren't it? They didn't seem like they were interested in scoring 4 goals. The second goes in, and then that's it, done and dusted. But then the third, Callum O'Hare finishing off with a plum. What a goal that was! Lovely cross. I think it was played from practically the back line, and then it ends up ball coming into the box. I don't know how Harrison Burrows is stood in the middle of the box, but we love to see it. We've always loved to see it over the years. Right backs and left backs getting forward and trying to score goals. He looks like he's going to swipe at it. He lets it run through his legs for Callum O'Hare to finish that one off, and it was just a beautiful end to the game. And I was going to mention earlier on, but obviously I went through the game, but the atmosphere was absolutely electric. Even to say that we didn't sell out all the tickets is ridiculous. But
who cares about that? You sound as bad as them at S6.
I'm getting there. I'm getting to the positive stuff. But the whole ground clapping for George Bulldog is just something that I will, remember for the rest of my life. Hairs on the back of the neck, goose pimples, a beautiful, beautiful moment. It really was, and almost brought tear to my eye. It was such a lovely moment, and I was just looking around, like literally everyone in this ground that is supporting Sheff United has stood up clapping. I've never seen anything like it, and there's Lee Winter that obviously you put a video out on, or Lee Eccles, whichever one it is, he's trying to get the atmosphere better, and the tifos and stuff that were the crowd were holding up. I wish I'd have got one on the south stand, but nothing happened on the south stand, I don't think. So I'm gonna have to have a word with Lee about that. But they had tifos across the other side, they had flags going across the cop. Yeah, it was party atmosphere. And do you know what? I'm not sure if it would have been as party atmosphere if it was sort of 1-1 or 1-0 to us going into that second leg. It would have been a little bit more KJ.
A little bit more nervy. You're absolutely right. Nick, can you share your team with us that you think we will see? Your predicted 11 rather than necessarily the one that, if in good Nick was the manager, he'll perish the thought of Sheffield United, and just run us through it.
Of course, mate. And the reason why Hal said that is because I said to him, Hal wrote on Twitter, let me just take it off for a second. Hal wrote on Twitter, this is the team that Nick would play going to Wembley. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is the team that I predict Chris Wilder to play, because I'm almost certain, unless there's injuries, this will be the team that Chris Wilder picks. It's the same team as we played for Bristol City away in that first leg. And I feel like this is the formation Chris Wilder's going to go for. And I'll run through it. Obviously, Chowdhury, we're expecting Chowdhury to play there because Gilchrist hasn't really had much of a look in. Other than that Blackburn game. Femi Sariki, there's obviously still a chance that he could feature at some point, but I don't think Wilder will throw him into a game like this. And Ellen Robinson has got to be, because they've been playing there together in the playoffs. Harrison Burrows, who else? Vinny Souza and Peck, again, who else? There's nobody else that would oust them out, even though I think Tom Davis has been really good since he's come back in. Coming off the bench with some brief cameos. Gus Hamer, he's obviously going to play on the left. I've wanted him to play through the middle all season, but he will play on the left. I think this is the big talking point. Who plays on that right-hand side? And, you could go with Jezza and Raksaki, which I think if he'd have got a few more games in the lead up to this final, I think he would have played on that right-hand side. But saying that, Chris Wilder, I think he likes somebody that does the dirty work a little bit more. And Rhian Brewster, we've seen him in his 18-yard box. We've seen him in his 6-yard box, clearing balls, tracking back, getting stuck in. And he can obviously do the attacking work as well.
While you're on this, the right-hand
Yeah.
side, I was talking to a Southampton fan yesterday who was saying, what chance has Ben Brereton Diaz got of getting back to Southampton and staking a claim? And I was just thinking, like, he's not even in discussions I've seen on social media for starting in this match. He's on loan from a Premier League team. You'd think that a loan from a Premier League team, you're going to be starting in the Championship. And we've been surprised to see him on the right. I don't think Ben Brereton Diaz works well on the right. I think he works better in the middle or on the left. But there's no chat. There's no talk. It's about Callum O'Hare. It's about Jezrin Raksaki. And you've gone with Rhian Brewster, who and Brooks, of course. And when we signed Rhian Brewster, if you'd said to me he would be playing as a winger at any point in his Sheff United career, he was simple. Box in the box striker, classic number 9. And here we are. And actually, I don't disagree with you.
No, it's not what I would play. I don't particularly love seeing Rhian Brewster not playing as a striker. I don't like him as a 10. I'd much rather see him out wide because I don't think he's got the passing capability of the 10. I'd much rather see Gus in there. But I'll be honest, he's really impressed me, Rhian Brewster, in the last few games. He's really kind of made that right-hand side his own. And when you've got Andre Brooks on the right, and you've got Jezrin Raksaki on the right, neither of them, other than that small purple patch that Jezrin Raksaki had, neither of them have nailed down that spot. And it might have been because of injuries.
This game, I believe, is going to be a game of counterattacks. And for that reason, I do think you might need pace. Jezrin Raksaki has more pace than some of these other players that you've mentioned.
And I think he will definitely see this game. He will, and actually, I think he can make more of an impression off the bench than starting, because, like you say, I do think it will be a counter-attacking game for Sunderland. I think we will also try to play that, but I think we will dictate the play more. I think we'll have more possession.
It depends on who scores first, because yes, it will be a counter-attacking game for Sunderland. That's their style. That's the way they like to play, and they're very, very effective at it. Let's say Sunderland score early.
Oh God!
The worst thing for the game. It would be the worst thing for the game. Worst thing as a neutral. It's the worst thing that can happen. Then we've got to go for it, and we've got to look for the balls over the top. We've got to get pace in behind. And I'm not sure. I'm just going to throw this as a kind of devil's advocate. Kiefer Moore in a game that becomes like that, in a game that might be a game where we've got to either completely take it to them or hit them on the break if they're the ones that say they'll sit back and keep the ball. I don't know. Kiefer Moore, does he work in a game like that?
Well, it's lucky that we've got other players like that other strikers and striking options, because we can always go back to a one striker and two really high, tricky wingers. You mentioned Ben Brereton Diaz earlier on. He's not even been on the bench in the last few games. So I don't think it's got anything to do with the fact that he's not capable. I think he would be in and around this the first team if it wasn't for whatever it is. Because I've mentioned it before on this channel, he was at the Player of the Year do. I had a photo with him. He seemed absolutely fine. I don't know what, because it was a virus, I think it was said that he got. It's unknown.
Would you be interested in Tyrese Campbell and Ben Brereton Diaz starting up front?
Yeah, and Andrew's just put a post up on the Sheff United Way Twitter and Facebook and everything else, and he put up the "Would you have McBurney back?" And do you know what? The first thing that sprung to mind is the person that gets the best out of Ben Brereton Diaz is Ollie McBurney. When those two played up front in the back end of the season in the Premier League, I loved watching that side. I'm trying to remember which game it was. There was a home game. It might have been Palace or someone like that, but they played really well against Chelsea. There was a game where Alan Shearer did a full breakdown on those two on Match of the Day, and we didn't get that at any point last season because we were so bad. So it just shows that those two worked really well together. Ollie McBurney leading the line, and Brereton Diaz. It was almost like between both wings. He was kind of like just pulling off him and going to the left, pulling off him going to the right, and Ollie McBurney was creating stuff for him. He was creating stuff for McBurney. And it was really good to watch them two together. So I would love to see him as a second striker. but obviously he likes to come off the left and come inside on his right.
What about Kiefer Moore at some point with Ben Brereton Diaz in this game? Tyrese Campbell at Stoke did play on the wing, not all the time, but he can. I'm just saying it's an option. If we're looking for something a bit different, we've got to unlock a defense that's just a little bit different. And we've tried everything. We've gone with our 4-4-2, which I agree with you. We will go 4-4-2, but it's finally time that we turn up for a playoff final. But if we find ourselves goals down and we need to look for something a little bit different, what do you think?
I think we've got too many wing options to stick Tyrese Campbell out there. He scored lots of goals this season, really important goals. I keep saying this over and over again, and he's really struggled to score goals recently. But, I feel like there's no bigger game, even Sheffield Wednesday. This is a bigger game than Sheffield Wednesday. It's the playoff final. We've never won one before.
Mate,
so
we've never even looked like scoring. Brown's penalty at the Millennium Stadium is the only time I ever thought we might actually score at a big game, at a final.
I've been to all of them. Palace, I don't remember a lot of it, but I don't remember seeing us get near scoring. Millennium Stadium, we had a few chances. Huddersfield, we were shocking.
They had a few chances at Millennium Stadium, but that was when they were 3-0 up.
Yeah, so there's more pressure on you then because we need to score. Huddersfield didn't look like scoring. Burnley, don't remember us having a shot other than Jamie Ward handballing it about 30 times and getting sent off. Yeah, it's that whole semi-final, that's the only time we've scored at Wembley in almost my lifetime. Obviously, we scored against Wednesday. But yeah, it's not been good for us there.
10th time lucky. So, past 5 games, we've actually looked like a team. We've hit form at the right time. How important will top scorer Tyrese Campbell be, Nick, in this game?
Well, again, as I've just mentioned, Tyrese Campbell needs to start scoring goals. 33 appearances, 22 which he started, 10 goals. That's it. That's really good. That's really, really good. Only 1 assist, 53% shot accuracy. That's really good for a striker. He's like I said earlier in the season, hit a really, really good purple patch, then got injured. He scored a few goals since he's come back, but he's on a bit of a barren run right now. But he scores important goals at important times, and he puts the ball in the Wednesday net. It's Tyrese Campbell. And it's got to be him that starts this game. There's absolutely no chance for me that Tom Cannon plays in this game. It's got to be him. And Tom Cannon off the bench, I think Andre Brooks, I think Raksaki, I think they'll all have a say in this game, especially if we're drawing or losing. I think they will come on and make a difference. I think Andre Brooks will be really unlucky not to start. But again, I think it's got to be, I think Wilder will go with Ryan Brewster. There's no doubt in my mind that's what he'll do because he likes a strong unit. And I feel like, you don't want passengers. And I'm not saying that those guys are passengers because they're so good going forward, but I just think he likes that defensive solidity.
We shall see. I saw an interesting stat about a striker. Have you heard of him? Jamie Vardy. 500 appearances, 200 goals, which to me says he's gone 300 games in his career there for Leicester without scoring.
That's a barren run.
That's a barren run. Imagine it, if you just are lucky if you sign a striker and it's his first 300 where he doesn't score.
Or the first 200 he scores, and then for the rest of his career, nothing.
It could happen. Now let's talk about Sunderland. I mean, I grew up in York, as Nick knows, and there was a lot of Sunderland fans in York. There was a lot of Sunderland fans at my school at the time. I was always rocking the tracksuit and the jacket of the Avec era, and we had Avec Wards on the back. They had Avec Vaux, and you'd often get people confused. You're a Sunderland fan, you're a Sheffield United fan. I had that a lot. I went to school with Paul Thurwell, a relative of Paul Thurwell. Paul Thurwell played for Sunderland, then would join Sheffield United. I have a real respect for Sunderland. Their fans are fantastic. I think they're proper football fans. I loved Premier Passions, which was the documentary about them that was a TV series when I was a lad. And it was fantastic. They've had a more recent documentary, which I didn't like as much, but really, no, Premier Passions is...
No,
you've not seen it. You've not seen Premier Passions. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Well, you've not seen it. So you've not got a frame of reference. I've seen both, which means I can actually talk from a position of authority on this.
It's a Netflix documentary. There's nothing better than a Netflix documentary. I don't care. There's Prime rubbish. Man City. Yeah. No
all right. Well, you can have your American Netflix.
Hi, baby.
And I will go back to the big British castle of the BBC because you know what, Nick? I back Britain and I believe in Britain. And you can have all your American nonsense. Right.
Is
Anyway,
Netflix American?
probably. So
He probably is. I don't know.
So that's just a little bit of background on, we're not coming at this and trying to stoke the fire, have a dig at Sunderland. There'll be Sunderland fans watching this, I'm sure of that. And I just want to say that, do you know what? If we weren't playing Sunderland in this final and Sunderland had gone up automatically, I'd be perfectly happy with that. Playing a team like Coventry, be very different. Burnley, I'd really want to beat them. I do want to beat Sunderland. I've got a lot of respect for them. I've got neighbours where I live, massive Sunderland fans. They really know their football. I think we're very similar as a fan base. So
can I just say I completely agree with that because, and I'm going to mention it again, Sunderland Till I Die documentary, there was one thing that really sat with me and it made me feel a little bit emotional. I'm trying to remember what she said now. She just said it were after they lost one of the finals and it was something like, why always us? Like, why do we always mess this up? And it really got to me because it
resonates,
felt
doesn't it?
So it felt so personal.
We've both been there, and that's where I was about to get to. They've lost a lot of finals. We've lost a lot of finals. They know heartbreak. They've at least scored some goals, but we know heartbreak. So Sunderland, they edged past Coventry in their playoff semi-final. Dan Ballard with an extra time winner. I have been on my radio show. I've been playing the Sunderland radio commentary every single day because my boss's surname is Ballard. I've just been playing Ballard. I've enjoyed that. 3-2 on aggregate. They got through. The team that night was Patterson, Hume, Ballard, O'Nien, Kirkin, Roberts, Neil, Bellingham, Lafee, my ender, your ender, Isidore. In both legs, majority of passes played by Sunderland were in their own half. Their manager, Labrie, letting Coventry have a lot more of that ball on purpose and advancing on them, releasing that speedy counter-attack, which you've already spoken about, Mayenda or Isidore. They've got wheels for feet. Either of them a real problem. And I do worry because our centre-backs famously have been exposed at times by pace. Sousa, I think, will be vital to break up play. And if he can't, at least he does have the legs to get back. I think that's why Heckingbottom brought Sousa in when he saw Norwood didn't have those legs anymore. It could be a very, very counter-attack heavy match, which will either make it fascinating, end-to-end stuff, or incredibly dull to watch. I don't know. I don't think we care, do we, Nick, if it's a boring game for the neutral?
No, not really. No, not at all. Like we just need to win it. We just need to win one and just get that monkey off our back because Sunderland have got that monkey off their back. Yes, they've not won a championship playoff final, but they've won a League One playoff final, and it must feel like such a relief. I just want to.
Why, just before you move on, why do you think the neutrals, the footballing world, all want Sunderland to win?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
Because they haven't been in the Prem as recently as us would be my guess.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the fact that we, as lots of neutrals say, or fans of top six clubs, stunk the gaff out, really winds me up. I think the fact that we conceded 100 goals last season, we've been in the Prem a couple of times recently. We are seen as a bit of a yo-yo club, like sort of Burnley, Leeds, maybe Leicester. Could call them, I don't know, but we're seen as a bit of a yo-yo club right now. I think they just want someone different. I think that's all it is. I don't think people hate us. I just feel like they want someone different, and Sunderland's story feel like quite a good one, isn't it?
I suppose in some respects. I mean, I hope it's not a great story and it's poorly written at the end. I think there's a lot of indifference actually to Sheff United from a lot of fans, like the Big Six. Don't think they really think about us much. Don't think they care about us, and Sunderland would just be different. What were you going to say before I so rudely interrupted you?
Rude man. I just wanted to say before I get on to talking about a video that we've got coming up. I did the Second Tier podcast recently, and they've clipped it up to make me sound like I am the most big-headed, arrogant man in the world. But I spoke to Johnny. This is the segue into what I'm going to talk about. Spoke to Johnny from Roker Report, and I really enjoyed what he said. And I messaged him because he went on their podcast as well, and he said he's very self-deprecating about Sunderland, which made it even worse, the fact that I was so arrogant. And he said if we'd have won 6-0, coming into the final, then I think we'd have been really confident as well. And we would be the same. So that made me feel a little bit better about that, because we've got to be confident. We've absolutely smashed Bristol City. So let's go into this with confidence. Let's not go into this negative. Like, we're in the best shape we could possibly be. And anyway, so Hal's obviously ran through Sunderland for you. Ollie's done a little bit of that already on how to beat Sunderland, which I love listening to Ollie talk about football. He just knows a hell of a lot about a lot of different teams, and especially Sheff United. And his mate Johnny from the Roke Report, he's going to be doing a video with him. We've not got Johnny on this video for a good reason, and that's because Ollie's going to be doing an extra video with Johnny, just talking about this final and what we will kind of expect from Sunderland.
The referee for this playoff final is Chris Kavanagh. He's 39. He is a Premier League ref. So they've brought a Premier League ref in for this one. I think that says a lot about this match, and something I don't like about it, which I'll get to in a moment. Kavanagh is from Ashton-under-Lyme. He's taken charge of 38 games this season. He's issued a huge 193 yellow cards. He's given 8 reds, 2 were second yellows. He's also given 6 penalties. I would say expect cards. And VAR, this is what I don't like, will be in use for some reason. I do think it's bang out of order when you haven't had VAR throughout this entire competition of the Championship, and you haven't even had it for the semi-finals. The fact that you bring it in for the final, dislike a lot. He has refereed Sunderland 5 times. Get this, they've never won with him as referee. They've never won. One draw, the rest all defeats. He's taken charge of Sheffield United 8 times. They've only won 2 of those. And you might recall Chris Kavanagh sent off Ollie McBurney during last season's defeat to Burnley.
Yeah, I do remember that. And then, I think he did deserve to be sent off, in all honesty. But I do want to talk about VAR for a second, because it doesn't even matter if they've got VAR. They're not going to use it properly anyway, because Forest, a few seasons back, went up and Huddersfield had 2 clear penalties denied. Like, if you're going to use it properly, please. Or
it's the only thing that will help me in my moment of grief if we don't win, is that I'll be thinking, at least we don't have VAR next season. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get involved in the game. I really do, because it's horrible. Do you know what? It's great as a neutral, like watching VAR on the TV. It's just it's a bit of a pantomime. It feels, but when it's you and you're in the ground, it's awful. It's horrible.
I speak for everyone where I say that is the opinion of Ingrid Nick and not the Sheff United way.
No, I find it fun, and like I say, it's a bit of a pantomime because it's a bit of a joke, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like, how long it takes these decisions to get sorted out. Sometimes they're even incorrect when you've watched it from 30 different angles, just because, we'll go with the ref's on-field decision because we're not sure. Like, no one will stick their neck out and actually have an opinion on something. Or no one will just say to the referee, you've got that wrong. You don't even need to come back to the screen. You've got that completely wrong. They always have to come to the screen just to make sure. It's ridiculous.
Right, let's move on. We'll do player connections. As always, we have 4 players who've played for both. Nyron Nosworthy played 2 seasons for Sheffield United, 51 matches, shudder. 5 seasons for Sunderland, 114 matches played. Simon Moore, who's appeared on this channel, if you want to check out our chat with Simon, 6 appearances for Sunderland this season, but part of the 100 club with United from 2016 to 2021. Do check out our chat with Si on this channel. He's such a nice guy. He's got really great stories. He made 70 appearances for the Blades during his time. Andy Gray, 2003 to 2006. He was a United striker and a pretty decent one. 65 games, 28 goals, a decent return. And the Championship, he did really well for us. But when he moved to the Premier League with Sunderland, it didn't work out. 22 matches, just 1 goal. Nick already mentioned Neil Collins, 2004 to 2007. He was a Black Cat, 24 appearances and 2 goals. His goal return is actually pretty decent for a centre-back. He was on loan with the Blades for 2 games in 2005-06 season, as we were in the Championship and Sunderland were in the Premier League. That would then swap, and he would join United on a permanent deal in 2010, playing 214 games in 6 years with an impressive 14 goals, largely in our League One years. Now we come to our score prediction. If you'd like your score prediction shared here and to receive a whole host of other benefits, as well as support us, head to patreon.com/Sheff United Way. Really helps us. Nick, what is your score prediction?
It's going to be really tight. I don't want to say 1-0 because we've lost so many 1-0, and it's been always been really tight. Other than the Wolves game, obviously. I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go us to go 1-0 up, them to peg us back, and then us to score with sort of 10 minutes to go. That's
nervy.
what I'm going for.
I've just had like a shudder of nerves overcome
It's
my
horrible.
whole body. I don't think I'm going to handle this well at all. I'm so worried. Robin also agrees with you. He says 2-1 Blades. Get your score predictions in the comments. Greg says 2-2, then potluck on pens. I'll let you read the next one.
Lewis thinks we will win 3-1. Harmer, Moore and Campbell bagging for United, with Isidore scoring for the Mackhams. Shaw also thinks 3-1 with Campbell, Harmer and Anel scoring for us. That's 2 3-1s in a row. That's 6 goals that 2 different people think we're going to score. You can't add them together though. Paul says 3-1 also. Blades 2 up, then pegged back to 2-1. But a third from Peck. We all want to see Peck score that goal, don't we? Will thinks it's going to be a goal fest of 4-3 to United. I can see why Sunderland think that we are a little bit arrogant now, seeing all these scores.
Do you know,
by the way, it's going to be
arrogance.
really cagey and tight, guys.
It's not arrogance. You've got to back your own team, otherwise you're not a supporter. That's all it is. Sunderland fans, if they just won 6-0, like you said before, and they'd finished third and they'd got 92 points or whatever, I feel like they'd be probably saying the same thing. James thinks we draw 1-1, then extra time when Burrow's penalty wins it. George thinks we nick it 1-0. I'm saying 2-1 Blades. I agree with you, Nick, but very, very nervy. What do you think?
I just had that same shudder, and I don't. It was the James
real.
thinks we were going to draw 1-1 and extra time. Extra time. I don't want to go to extra time. It sounds horrible. I just want us to score a goal and then score another goal, and that'll be it. Like just leave it 2-0. No worries. Let's just enjoy our day. Get promoted. Let's just agree on that, please. Thank you, Sunderland.
Yes,
it's horrible.
Just to say, LA Blades, yes, I think if Suter hadn't got injured, we would have gone up automatically, as you just asked that question. Well, I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this match preview. Sharp in, take a breath. Up the Blades. Nick, I will see you at Wembley.
Oh, yeah, see you there.
Ollie, ollie, ollie. Ollie, ollie.